Prepare to have knowledge bestowed upon you. Here comes the #1 podcast for Dynasty Fantasy Football, half PPR 10 and 12 man leagues, the Fantasy Podfathers. Welcome to the Fantasy Podfathers, the podcast dedicated to 10 and 12 man Dynasty using half PPR as our guiding light, and as always, no kickers. I just want to lead off saying I think a new feature for the show. I tend to pull a lot of numbers out of my ass when we do this. So I just added a sound last week. When I'm right, there will be a ding. And when I'm wrong, we'll sound the foghorn. There's a nice little wrinkle to the show.
What sound effect do you have for a fellow who got kicked in the fantasy testicles this week?
Oh, I've got this.
Yeah. Had a rough week. Did a little bit of everything wrong. Started a wrong player to lose a game. Was the second highest scorer in the league to lose a game. Lost in like my must-win matchup in a league. It was all around a shit fest of excitement for me. How about yourself?
Yeah, I had a pretty solid week. Won 3 of my 4 dynasties. And a little side note, I just want to reiterate the dynasty patience. The league where I thought my running back situation was so bad that I was ready to fold it up in the preseason, I am in first and am outscoring the next team by like well over 100. So hey, just don't throw in the towel so early. But the one I lost, I actually got Flacco'd.
You've been Flacco.
Joe Flacco, a guy who didn't even know FAAB on him, just a guy picked up off the wire after he cleared, outscored Pat Mahomes by like 4 times.
Good Lord. Joe Flacco really is kind of the next Mike White, isn't he? God, he looks good.
I think they will have time to get to know each other because from what I saw, I think they are both on the COVID protocol for contact this week. So after he shows up to put a glorious beat down on me, he's right back to gone. So he must have learned that trick from Fitzpatrick. He has a way of doing that to me, coming off of the wire, beating me, and then fading back into obscurity.
Yeah, real quick on that note too, because we don't want to spend. We have that rule that we don't spend more than 20 seconds talking about any of the Jets.
It's a good rule.
Yeah, Zach Wilson better do something because Mike White and Joe Flacco just look good.
Exactly. So, and Flacco, as I pointed out, is a dude that no FAAB on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we like to talk a little FAAB.
Think you know what that means. You hear that in the background?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time for I got FAAB on it.
You know, you're using the remind me that term again.
The putty player.
The putty player, which I love.
That guy that you get to just fill in the gap and see if you can make it float.
And I think last week we talked about some putty players out there. We can kind of see how they did. Like we talked about how Adrian Peterson was a putty player, and looks like he's putty no more. He did get cut. And here's the other thing to think about. That's probably it for Peterson.
That was the ideal situation for a free agent running back to land in.
Right.
Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. When you're a Hall of Fame running back, you can't be expected to beat the likes of Donta Foreman or Jeremy McNichols. We also saw a guy like Cam Newton go. And that was FAAB that probably paid off for it. You probably didn't have to spend that much for him.
Right.
Yeah.
How about you? You pick up anybody on FAAB this week?
Well, ironically, we talked about Khalil Herbert last week.
Oh, I have heard about him.
Yeah. And he happened to get cut right after we recorded our podcast. And
I see.
And in a league that we played together, the Nasty, and looks like 2 people in the league who had been in tune to the Khalil Herbert situation put some FAAB on it.
Yeah, how much you put down?
I put on $2.
I see.
Do you have any interest?
Oh, I actually did. I put in a claim on him as well. I put on $0 because that's just $1 less than all of the dollars I have.
I did actually, must be honest. Our podcast helped me with that $2 limit.
Right?
I was like, well, I know one other person who might be interested, so I will raise his dollar and give him a $2.
I would have been disappointed if I had spent my dollar and didn't get him.
I did go back to the short, long, and gone segment in my head last week when I thought, I need to make a cut. I got to get a player up on my bench. But and I was like in that spot with Khalil Herbert, just looking at him being like, dynasty, do I cut him? And I decided to hold on to him because I had a strategy in place that I was maybe going to try to trade for David Montgomery this last week.
Yes.
Which I got outbid for. So I am not the proud owner of David Montgomery, but I am the proud owner of his backup who cost me $2. So if Montgomery gets hurt, yay for me.
Yeah, and the price that was paid for Montgomery was rather steep. So I don't know. I still like him. He's young enough. He's got long-term value. He's one of those guys that's been around a few years, so you might think he's a little older than he is.
Yeah. Yeah, Montgomery's 24 years old.
Exactly. And it seems like he's been around the league for forever.
We should talk about some trade value in Dynasty. And I think that trade's a good way to analyze that. Let's lay it out there. This is the trade that went down in our league.
The Nasty, a 10-man half PPR Dynasty featuring practice squad.
We saw David Montgomery and T. Higgins get traded from a team that's feeling like they're out of contention. They're still technically in contention, but looking at their roster, they had a long ways to go. They got a first-round pick and a third-round pick next year, and a second-round pick in 2023. So essentially, a first and a second and a third for David Montgomery.
What a haul.
And T. Higgins, which I think, for me, I know we spoke. I said my max price for David Montgomery was a first-round pick. That was my max.
Right.
And I justified it in exactly what you said, 24 years old.
Exactly. Right. It's still, there's guys coming in the draft at that age. I think Keyshawn Vaughan might have come in at 24.
Mm-hmm. And look how great he was. He played last night, by the way.
Oh, did he?
Oh man, got in there right after the 2-minute warning to take, I believe, 1 or 2 handoffs.
Yes, quality.
So
and,
he's paying dividends.
And the other guy, the guy that got drafted the year before him, Ronald Jones, actually younger. That rookie doesn't mean a goddamn thing. You might want to do some more digging. Like in the league 3 years, that isn't as clarifying as it might sound.
And the other thing I say when you're analyzing these deals is you really got to think, like, if you're buying David Montgomery, you're playing for this year.
Right. And he's got immediate value.
I kind of set my ceiling at a first round pick because, if you don't win it all this year and you trade for David Montgomery, you kind of threw away your first round pick next year, who could turn out to be much better than David Montgomery. I mean, I like Montgomery's talent. I don't like the team he's on. I guess it came down for me on why I set my price the way I did is I could not bring myself to say, yeah, I want the leading rusher for the Chicago Bears. Like, you try saying it doesn't feel good. David Montgomery has been injured for 4 games this year. He's had 2 games over 10 points. So
wow.
So his upcoming schedule looks decent. It looks juicy. I understand it. But how many times do you feel like the Bears are going to be guaranteed to score 2 rushing touchdowns a game?
Yeah, and I don't expect much out of the Bears scoring wise.
No, and Justin Fields might Jalen Hurts you.
True.
Which I don't like. So, anyways, to kind of think about it, when you're thinking about a trade in Dynasty, you've got to be thinking like, how much are you giving up of next year's draft value to win now? And we have guys in our league. We have guys we've seen play who are always in that mode. They'll always trade away their whole draft to try to win now. And we have other guys we see who try to trade away their players to hoard draft picks.
Yeah, I've seen both strategies employed. Strangely enough, I've seen both work.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be one of those guys where there was a right way and a wrong way to do this, and you're not doing it. I've seen it. People take swings in every direction. Success seems to be pretty evenly distributed among the strategies.
I agree. You either buy proven talent or you load up on picks, so you only need 2 of your 4 to pan out for you to be right. I don't know if we should go into our next segment here on exactly what do you do with those guys once they're on your roster. A little short, long, and gone here today.
Short, long, or gone.
Yeah, you pick up these guys. Like I said, it might be that putty player that you need to fill a gap and get you a start. And for me, that's the big curse. When you pick up a guy and he does what he's supposed to and then some more, and then next thing you know, you've owned Ryan Tannehill for 4 years because you can't get rid of him. I would much rather that the player came in like a Jordan Howard, did his job for 2 weeks, and then got the bleep out of my life.
Yep.
So who we got on the docket this week?
Well, before we head in, Ron, I'm getting a crackle on your end.
I mess with my settings, and it's really screwing with me in my head, but I don't want to change them now that we started.
Great.
Just be consistently shitty. That's our motto around here.
That's right. And I feel like that's a standard we can hold to.
Consistently shitty. Right. See Podfathers.
I feel like I'm going to have you kick off this segment here because you have a quarterback that we're talking about in Matt Ryan that I think you kind of maybe you don't even want to talk about him, but I'm going to make it. This will be like a therapy session from you and Matt Ryan.
Okay, we're just going to talk this out. All right, let's just start at the beginning. The Nasty's like 11 years old. Matt Ryan was a mid-round pick for me in the initial draft. He is a guy I've had from day one. So I don't take this lightly. No. I definitely think I got my value out of him, but at 36, lead-footed, his weapons kind of been limited around there this season. Man, the long-term prospects aren't great, and now the short-term prospects are pretty much useless. So for me, sadly, I think Matt Ryan is going to be gone.
Yeah. I would tell you I don't think I would pick him up if you cut him. I don't. It's like that insurance policy where you like look at your roster and you're like, I feel good, Matt Ryan's my backup. And then you got to play him and you're like, I don't feel good, Matt Ryan's my backup.
For about 9 or 10 years, I did.
Right?
He was the perfect backup, but now, ouch. No, fuck.
No. And in a dynasty for me, he's gone too. All you have to do to stop Atlanta right now is double team Kyle Pitts, and there literally is no other talent for him to throw it to. You're never going to have to put 8 in the box against Mike Davis.
No, he's another one of those. That's the FAAB dog that followed me home. Hey, McCaffrey went down. I could use a little help at running back. Oh, Mike Davis? Oh, hey, he signed with another team? Oh, geez. I guess I'm stuck with him because he's got just a little too much value to cut.
Again, welcome to 2021 where Atlanta's running back situation is Mike Davis and Cordell Patterson. and one of them's a top 10 runner.
And Joe Flacco is outperforming Matt Ryan off of the Jets, the bottom of the Jets bench. And I don't know what to do anymore.
You've been Flacco.
Yeah, so I think we both agree Ryan's gone. We had an interesting one here, and actually we can kind of tie this into last week's trade segment. I said you might want to think about trading for Clyde Edwards-Helaire this week because we didn't know what the timeshare was going to be between him and Daryl Williams. And I don't feel like it was good news for Daryl Williams.
the reason that I have $1 in the nasty is that I believe I dropped somewhere in the neighborhood of $72 picking him up. I was so running back needy.
Yeah.
And you know, what a great offense to buy into. And he was worth every dollar. But now we've reached that point of the season where, guess what? I had to look him up. He's something like 26. So he's not completely out of long-term value. He's going to eat up another spot on my bench. I want to say gone here so bad, but I just can't yet. I have to wait and see if Edwards-Helaire holds up.
Yeah.
There's definitely some concern of that. But like I said, the age at 26, the offense that he's in, the fact that he seems to be next man up behind a guy who is starting to earn a little bit of an injury-prone label, I can't cut him. I'm going to have to say long.
I would actually go short on him myself.
Short.
I'm willing to hold on to him. I don't know what his contract situation is, but I would be willing to hold on to him through this year and see if he ends up somewhere else next season. But his value is standalone only if Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets hurt. And I just think like at 27 free agent, you're not going anywhere to be the feature back. From here on out, he's going to be a backup running back that, barring injury, he's going to be hard to have on the roster.
He's quickly becoming my next Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
He's right in there where he's just good enough. Damn it.
Yeah, that's a tough call. We'll have to revisit him in a few weeks, see if Clyde's healthy and how much Daryl gets. But in Clyde Edwards-Helaire first game back, Daryl Williams scored 3 fantasy points.
Yeah, you nailed it. It's really his value is completely tied to Edwards-Helaire's health.
Well, and we can use that. We've been talking about Khalil Herbert a lot, but that's a good example. Khalil Herbert's 23, and his talent looked unbelievable when he hit the field. Daryl Williams had one really good-looking game, but he's 26. So, to me, that's the difference between short and long when I'm deciding on a player.
Yeah, that's him going somewhere to join in a timeshare with Carlos Hyde and Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah.
Probably Atlanta as they retool their running back position, or who knows, maybe the 2 backs from Atlanta go down to Houston and join those 3 where they have 12 running backs and you want to own none of them. Yeah. I would say that's far-fetched, but hey, I got Flacco'd this week, so let's not rule anything out just yet.
You've been Flacco.
Was it Chester Taylor? Is that the running back I'm thinking of? Went to the Vikings when he was
a big free agent signing,
right? And he was like 28 years old, 27 years old,
Baltimore,
right? And to me, like Daryl Williams will be the next Chester Taylor, where you'll be really excited about owning him until the draft, and then you'll be like, oh.
Oh, I still was in the preseason. I was like, oh, Chester Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about this Adrian Peterson guy. He's nothing to be concerned about. I've seen tape on Chester Taylor.
Right. Yeah,
I'm all good here.
This Adrian Peterson guy will end up playing a few games for the Titans and get cut, probably.
Yeah, he's not like he's going to be around for like 20 years. That would be stupid.
Yeah,
only Frank Gore can do that.
Yeah, so I think he might be fool's gold next year too for someone who's thinking that they've got a starting running back.
Yeah, and like I said, he's holding just enough value that I'm going to be that Raheem Mostert holding some bitch, just waiting to cut him when he's 29.
Let's talk about a wide receiver. See if they should be eating up your roster spot. How do you feel about Mr. Emmanuel Sanders
right now is vastly different from what I would have told you 8 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
That Buffalo offense, as much as people seem to be enjoying them, really haven't put up those numbers.
No.
There's been a couple of good games where they really broke out, but other than that, they have been pedestrian. And he's obviously not the number one. If the game plan doesn't go great, he's not a factor.
Yeah.
And I don't even have, an age guess on him. He's got to be 30, right? 31.
Just wait till I tell you this one. It's going to shock you. He's 34 years old.
Because he got drafted with Antonio.
So what would you do with him if you got him on your roster and you got to make that decision?
On its face, he's a straight cut. Just looking at it and everything we just highlighted. But there's still enough potential there with that offense. What it really comes down to is who do you replace him with?
Yeah.
I mean, go look at the wire. You want some Kendrick Bourne? I've had him 7 or 8 times this year. And I mean, it's something that's what you're looking at replacing him with if you're staying positionally.
I thought I'd look at the wire and see the top scoring players available and see if you'd replace them with Emmanuel Sanders. And that player at the top of the list is Kendrick Bourne.
He should be, in most leagues, the highest percentage rostered player that is not rostered in your league.
If you want to talk about the most dependable stat line, I'm going to give you the last 5 weeks of Kendrick Bourne. He has 4 catches, 4 catches, 3 catches, 4 catches, and 4 catches.
Yeah. So hey, that's about enough to make him number 1 there.
I know. So if you want 4 catches, I guess I would say the same thing. Emmanuel Sanders to me is short, and I'm probably not feeling good about starting him, but I'm not going to cut him just to cut him. I'd have to. He'd be the first person I'd cut if I found a player, but I'm gonna hold on to him because I think you're right. I don't think there's a better wide receiver out there as of today.
Sure. No, looking at my wires, Bourne is that top guy. You've got a dude like Raymond in Detroit, who is in Detroit and 5'8". What about a guy like Jalen Rieger? You got any interest in that?
No. God, I don't. I kind of hate Jalen Rieger. You kind of touched a nerve there. I'm sorry.
Sizzling hot takes.
Jalen Rieger to me is maybe like Duvernay on the Ravens, like Sammy Watkins. I do not want the number 2 wide receiver in a run first quarterback rushing team that has a good defense. Rieger to me is no, I don't want him. I would rather have Emmanuel Sanders than Jalen Rieger.
I agree.
That Philly offense is not designed to support 2 wide receivers, and they just ponied up a bunch for Goddard. So Rieger's like the 3rd on the list, and he's 4 targets a game is not going to do it for me. We had at the tight end position, we had Cole Comet. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but looks right on paper. Comet. Comet.
You know what that means.
What?
You know what? You just made the list.
Oh, he did make the list of names. Cole Comet. It's a stupid name.
It is. You know what? I'd like to buy a vowel, please.
Yeah.
And I'd like to give it to Cole Comet.
Let's talk about this. How cool would he be if he was Cole Comet? That's way
true.
cooler.
That's a little bit of branding that needed to happen.
Hey, Cole Comet. Okay, I might have to change my mind, but
Joe Theismann.
Oh yeah, Joe Theismann, like him.
But Joe Theismann's in the running for the Heisman.
That's true. Ooh, that's a good point. Cole Komet, I guess I'm going to kind of pull out a little surprise here. He's actually gone for me.
Gone!
Even in year 2. He's actually just kind of gone for me. I don't have that tight end patience.
Yeah, that is a special gift. But as someone who has that special tight end patience gift, let me just say I never took the flyer on him. I usually, depending on what my roster situation looks like, I like to take a 3rd round flyer on a tight end most years. You get 2 years on the practice squad to let them simmer. Maybe they turn into a Dalton Schultz or a Higbee. It's going to take a couple of years to get there. But when it came to Comet, I looked at him and I'm just, I couldn't do it. He's got size. I'm not sure how much these tight ends now, they're insane. You got guys like Ertz when he was in his prime, and Kelsey and Waller even converted from, I don't know what the hell they converted that beast from, but he didn't seem to fit that mold of those tight ends for me.
Yeah. I think he had some blocking prowess coming out, and it's supposed to be. I'm not going to wait around for the Bears. Like I said, we talked about this with Montgomery. There's not a lot of points to go around there. And these rushing quarterbacks are really just eating up receiving yardage. And when you got a tight end, and Mark Andrews may be an exception to this rule, but why would a guy like Justin Fields do a 5-yard check down pass to a tight end when he could just run for 5 yards? So he's not taking up a roster spot for me anymore. I'm going to let him go. If I'm eating my words, oh well. But as far as Cole goes, I cannot commit.
Oh, I'm calling it there. He's gone. I've heard enough.
Or gone.
You got any? Maybe do, maybe you don't. But got any trade targets this week?
Unquiver your arrow and focus on your target with laser-like intensity. This is Trade Targets.
Any guys that you've think, hey, maybe I want to buy low on?
Somebody had Jacobs on the block in one of my dynasties. He's another guy, a little bit younger, 23. That exact same boat with Montgomery. He wants a 1 for him. I really considered doing it.
God.
I mean, I feel like he's another guy that I trade for and don't feel good enough to start.
Yeah.
Like, I love the value long term, but I don't know that he helps me any right now. And if I go into next year without my 1, I don't know how great I feel.
Yeah, I don't think I can do Josh Jacobs for a 1. He is 23. He has not – his most rushing yards in a single game this year is 76. I don't know. Las Vegas – takes a talented player and poops on him. Like really, they're like,
it's the Raiders way.
It's the Raiders,
The Raiders.
It's Darren Waller being the exception, but man.
But yeah, look what's happened to him. He has been useless the last few weeks.
If I could get rid of Josh Jacobs for a 1 in a league, I mean, I would make that move.
Tasteful edit.
Yeah, but again, Josh Jacobs, I don't give him a 1. What would I have to give for Josh Jacobs?
Yeah,
I don't know if can you get him for a 2? That's probably as comfortable as I would be, and someone's probably gonna be like, I'd rather not.
Yeah, it'd have to be like a 2 and a player. Mm-hmm. But then what are you giving up that's got enough value?
Yeah,
I just don't know what's going to happen there.
Kenyon Drake's got play, and what was really weird this week, I watched that game. The first drive of the game, they got down inside the red zone, and Peyton Barber got the carry. I was like, I'm out. It wasn't like the fourth quarter or they were up and winning or Jacobs needed a rest. It was like a planned thing that they were like, yeah, we'll put him in now. It's time for him to be in here. I didn't love that.
Gruden's coaching them from a fucking bunker somewhere.
Right.
Putting Peyton Barber.
Right.
He's a football player.
He is a football player.
It's known as football.
it's the
limited fake Gruden.
The guy that's replaced him, I don't know if you've seen him on the field, but he feels like he's just always telling himself, I don't think I'm doing too bad.
I haven't seen him. I'm going to have to look him up now.
He's just kind of got that look to be like, if you were coaching summer league soccer and you really had to pee, so you had your uncle step in. Just tell him to run towards the other goal. They'll be fine.
Yeah, tell them they're doing good.
Yeah, tell them they're doing great. He's like, that works for me. I've got a player for you. Want to see your value on this guy.
Ooh.
And this is much more from a fantasy standpoint and not from this year. So I think when you and I were talking today, Josh Jacobs, Montgomery, those were guys that we were talking about giving up draft picks to win this year.
Right.
And this kind of trade is more of a, maybe I can get this guy on the cheap and he will help me next year sort of guy. So I'm going to throw out the name Jerry Judy, and I want to see how that rubs your nubbins.
Interesting. What's this year 2 for him?
Year 2 for him. He was injured for a good chunk of the year.
Okay, so even if he's in a practice squad situation where you've got 2 years protected on him, that's about to expire. So you're kind of in decision-making territory on him. And I don't know, if you're approaching the end of the second year and you're still not sure, I think that kind of tells you the situation. I don't know that I would pony up much of anything for him.
Yeah, I don't know. Right now, you're just going to do it based off potential. And here's what makes me nervous about Jerry Judy right now. I think he's the most talented of the 3 wide receivers on the Broncos. I think they have a really great wide receiver core with not great quarterback play. So they just, shocking, because I said on here before, I'm a Broncos fan. They just signed Tim Patrick to a 3-year deal, which I was like, sweet. Well, that means that Cortland Sutton is not going to be signed because they've got Jerry Judy next year and they've got Tim Patrick next year. And then they went ahead and signed Cortland Sutton to a 4-year deal the very next day. So you got Noah Fant, you've got Jerry Judy, you've got Cortland Sutton, and you've got Tim Patrick all locked up for at least the next 2.5 seasons.
Wow.
If I own Jerry Judy, I might want to try to move him just based off the name value right now.
That potential is such a weird capital in Dynasty, and that shit can dissipate quick. You got a guy his rookie year, there's some cachet just off the fact that he's a rookie. And then you get into year 2 and you find a lot of these guys, second-year players are oftentimes really great to target because some of that shine has worn off. The shiny new crop has shown up and taken all the attention, and dudes that were unmovable a year before suddenly become available. But you kind of, like I said, if you haven't established yourself as a big-time player by that stage, you're assuming a little bit of that risk.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, so I guess for me, I wanted to bring up the name just because I think you can get him on the cheap. But question is,
agreed.
3rd round is probably my max for Judy right now.
He's a lottery ticket.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, it's a ticket I'd be willing to scratch, but my roster has to be in the right configuration to take on a wide receiver that I may or may not be able to play this year.
Yep. I'm getting a little stir crazy. Think I might have to take a little flight here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have to take a little trip.
Oh, well, if you're telling me we've got to go through the airport, I'm going to have to flush some things.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. So put balloons in your butthole and try to not sweat as you walk through TSA, because here we go.
Shampoo!
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts. We're about to go around the world.
Out of mercy.
We can unfasten our seatbelts. The stewardess has turned the lights on, and they'll be serving small packages of peanuts and cheap liquor for the rest of the flight.
Well, where is our first destination?
Let's swing by the AFC, but it's a little cool up here, so let's start down in the south this week.
Ah, tropical.
Very nice. And there's nothing more tropical than the Indianapolis Colts. We were talking wide receivers, and we were going to go through and say, does this team have a number 1 wide receiver? Do you see someone who might be the future number 1 wide receiver, or does this team not have a number one wide receiver on their roster at all.
So around the world wide receiver ones. I'm with it. All right, let's do that.
So I'm going to start with the Colts, and I'm going to throw out this question. Is Michael Pittman the number one wide receiver in Indy?
Well, it ain't Zach Pascal. I'll tell you what.
It ain't. And I don't think you could say T.Y. Hilton's the number one there.
No.
No. So I'm going to say Pittman's the guy, and his needle is pointing up.
Agreed.
He looks legit.
Solid dynasty pickup.
Looks like I would compare him to Mike Evans is who he looks like to me. The Houston Texans.
Oh, God. Well, I guess it's got to be Cooks, right?
I guess he would technically be their number one, but I don't think he's a true number one. He's great, but I don't think he's a number one. So I don't think that team has it right now.
Well, I don't think that team has much of anything, but
No.
If they do, it's Cooks.
It's Cooks is their de facto number one, despite Kid God. That's a gross roster.
I know. That's when at night I get down on my knees and I thank the football gods that I ain't a fan of that sack of shit dumpster fire team. Amen.
Speaking of dumpster fire sack of shit team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think they don't have
a lot of mercy.
That team, they lost DJ Shark. I don't know if he's ever a true number one anyways. Marvin Jones has not done it. Jamal, I don't think that team has a number one on their roster.
No, Chenault was this flashy thing, and it's great because I remember there's some article came out and got aggregated that he compares to Andre Johnson, and everybody in every dynasty I had for about 8 or 9 days was just I have to have Laviska Chenault Jr.
When a team thinks they should bring in Tim Tebow as a tight end in the preseason, they're not great judges of talent. Then you got the Tennessee Titans, and that's a no-brainer. AJ Brown's the number one de facto wide receiver there. If the man could stay healthy, he would be a top 5 wide receiver every year.
Yeah, Julio is done. Put a fork in him.
We can travel on over to the AFC North. Baltimore Ravens. You've got Marquise Brown as the number one. I'll admit I got some bias against the guy. I still don't. I traded him away because I was sick of dealing with him. I still don't trust. I mean, I know he went on a hot streak from like right before the playoffs last year until like half the way this season. But as soon as you get one other usable piece like a Rashad Bateman, I don't trust consistent production on the wide receiver spot in Baltimore. So hands down, Marquise Brown is the guy. Yes, I'm biased. So I'll admit he's not a number one entirely to me, but fantasy scoring wise, he is.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't generally care for real short guys. I think he's another dude who's like 5'8", something like that. Not a big fan. Definitely explosive speed. I don't like the Baltimore offensive passing situation. That's a thing that I could say every season for about 20-something years. It is pretty consistently bad.
You got the Cincinnati Bengals. That quickly became an obvious one. Jamar Chase, hands down. I mean, man, we were excited about T. Higgins last year. We were excited about Tyler Boyd the year before that. We certainly are no longer excited about either of those guys. Chase has hands down won it.
Yeah, he just came in and took that thing.
Yeah. The Cleveland Browns, they do not legit have a number one wide receiver.
I'd say Jarvis.
Yeah, he is.
He's just hurt all the time.
He's kind of older, and he's not. He's to me, he's an amazing complimentary wide receiver, but they never got him a good compliment.
I think that's what the Odell experiment was.
Like I said, they never got him a good compliment. Steelers, man. Who's your one in Pittsburgh right now?
It's got to be Deontay.
Deontay.
My love for Claypool is documented, but he's that big frame, big shot downfield guy, and Deontay's just he's such a target hog. great route runner, faster than hell. He's PPR gold.
He is. Let's quickly move over to the West here. Denver Broncos. We already kind of talked about this situation. I don't think they have a number one, clear number one. I think they have 3 wide receivers who could be a number one any given week, but I don't think there's a clear number one there. The Chiefs, it's obvious it's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
No one else. How about the Raiders?
I was just going to say, if any situation were to arise where the number one receiver is not a receiver, Kansas City would be a close second only to the Raiders, whose number one wide receiver is in fact the tight end.
Yeah. And there's no question there. So
right. I think not up for debate.
No, there's no wide receiver one in Las Vegas. I guess in Las Vegas, the number one wide receiver would play the slot.
Thank God I have sound effects now.
And then the Chargers is clearly Keenan Allen.
Yeah, he's getting up there in years. But yeah, until someone knocks him off the pedestal, I'd call him the one.
Yep. A similar situation. I know not the same type of player, but similar to how long Hines Ward was the number one in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Plexico Burress is there. He'll become the one. Hines Ward is still there as the one. Let's round out the AFC here with the East. The Bills, it's clearly Stephon Diggs. No debate there. Dolphins, I guess we'd have to say Waddle is becoming the one.
Yeah, I don't know who else you'd call a one there.
We've kind of already talked about this through free agency, but New England Patriots don't have a number one wide receiver. In fact, Kendrick Bourne would be their number one wide receiver, and you can get him almost anywhere. And if you can't, just wait a week. You'll get him the next one.
Right.
Yep. And then to round out the AFC, we got the New York Jets. And, Elijah Moore's been coming on lately. He kind of is that Marquise Brown style player. He doesn't have the wide receiver one body necessarily, but he's getting a ton of targets. But I don't know if I can call him a wide receiver one yet because he hasn't been a wide receiver one with Zach Wilson as the quarterback.
Well, Zach Wilson's no Joe Flacco.
You've been Flacco.
He's no Joe Flacco, and he's certainly no Mike White, and he's certainly no Josh Johnson.
When he outscores Patrick Mahomes, then I'll be here for it.
Let's just roll right into the NFC and start off with the Dallas Cowboys because that was supposed to be a really exciting game. Mahomes versus Dak, and they both pooped their pants. I think Dak scored me like -2 in a league I played in. Legit got me negative points. Yeah, it was a terrible game, and Mahomes didn't do any better. This is a good debate. Who is the number one in Dallas? Is it Cooper? Is it CD Lamb?
I don't know. I guess I look at Lamb as the guy. If everything else is equal, he has the age advantage, so I guess I tilt it to him in that respect.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd call him the one.
I'd say CD's definitely earned it. I know Cooper and Dak have a good connection, but if we are a dynasty podcast, then I would say I agree with you entirely. The New York Giants, I guess we could say Kadarius Toney. People keep talking about how he's going to be great.
Well, what happened with Galladay?
He's god awful. He's not good.
But he was solid. Like he had like double-digit touchdown seasons, did he not?
I will say this: if you remember those last 3 seasons of Detroit with Matt Stafford there, no one really does. But go back, like just pain yourself and try to remember how many fantasy points the Detroit Lions put up in the fourth quarter for about 3 years, because it was like Stafford had like 400 yards passing every game, and 250 of them were in the fourth quarter. I'm not even joking. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
And Galladay was the benefit of all of that stuff. He is actually not a phenomenal player. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I've been deceived by the points.
Yeah, because he hasn't done anything with the Giants, and he was fully healthy and back last night against Tampa Bay, and they were down the whole.
And he was
game.
like third or fourth in targets.
Yep. Yeah, he just isn't winning his matchups. He's just not elite. Tony is like the guy I'd want to own, but I wouldn't feel good about starting him right now.
Trying to divest myself of the entire situation.
Yeah, I think getting away from the Giants is a solid move right now. We should go on to the Eagles. Clearly, for me, it's clearly Devontae Smith. He's gonna. I do believe he's gonna be something special. I really do. The question is, will they pass more, or is this what we can expect from the Eagles? Like, well, as Hurts gets more comfortable, is he begun to be a better passer, or is this what we see from the Eagles until Hurts
till he gets Hurts?
We go on to the Washington football team, and it's scary Terry McLaurin, and there's really no debate.
Yeah. Yep. Open and shut.
Yep. Let's go out to the West. The Cardinals have DeAndre Hopkins when he's healthy. There's clearly, with the mess that's been there since he's been gone, there's no question he's the number one wide receiver.
Agreed.
The Rams is easy. They've got Cooper Kupp.
I have nothing to add here.
The 49ers have Deebo Samuel.
A lot of mercy.
And the Seattle Seahawks have DK Metcalf.
Oh,
you could maybe debate Tyler Lockett versus DK Metcalf because they alternate games, but right now with the
Lockett
state
has been hugely productive.
The state of that offense, though, man, something's wrong. Their
quarterback's got pins in his hands,
and they got no running game. They've got no quarterback. They've got no defense. Their pets' heads are falling off. It's not good out there. I mean, really, they could use a 13th and 14th man right now. Let's go up north, where we reside. The Chicago Bears. I think something just switched this week.
Agreed.
I think Darnell Mooney's the number one, and I would say any wide receiver that can be productive in that mess is impressive. And Mooney's now built some consistency. I like him.
And according to Chris Sims, 3 rockets up his ass.
That's a lot of rocket.
Yeah, I'm not quite clear on the scale, but I know it's a very, very good designation.
That's high honors. The Detroit Lions, I don't believe they have a wide receiver 1, a wide receiver 2, or a wide receiver 3. I feel like they've got a lot of wide receiver 4s on that team.
Yeah, and they've got like a QB 7 in Boyle starting.
Wow. He's probably just as good as Jared Goff.
That's actually what I said, but I looked at the numbers today, and he was worse. 15 completions, 8 incompletions, 77 yards, 2 interceptions, negative .63. So he actually was worse than Goff.
Wow. Well, good for him. He's a true Lion. Tradition. That's what I like about those guys. Just tradition. Let's go to the Packers and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, that's pretty open and shut right there.
And I feel the same with the Vikings. Justin Jefferson is clearly – I feel like the Jefferson-Thielen situation is very similar to the CeeDee Lamb-Cooper situation.
Right.
I'm taking Justin Jefferson.
Thielen's still productive, but he's on the wrong side of 30.
You've had him for a long time.
I actually got him off the wire.
Would you say that you're hooked on a Thielen?
I am. I just can't quit him.
We got one last division to go here. We're going to head down into the South. We spoke a little bit about this team. Atlanta doesn't really have a number one one wide receiver, unless Ridley comes back. There's no one there. Kyle Pitts, yes, but
yeah, he's pretty much
receiver.
their one right now. Because if it's between him and Gage or Zacchaeus, you know what? You just made the list. No matter how you pronounce it, it ain't him either.
We'll go to Carolina. DJ Moore, clear cut, no question there. We go to Tampa Bay. It's Mike Evans. On a given week, it can be Chris Godwin, but for the most part, Mike Evans is a true wide receiver one body type.
Right. Love him.
Godwin, wherever he goes next year, will be their wide receiver one. He's going to get himself paid. And then the New Orleans Saints, they don't have a number one wide receiver. They don't have a number one quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know if Thomas comes back, what he's got left.
He's out for the year.
Oh, I know, but I mean, even next year.
Oh, yeah, no.
I don't know if he's a guy that I'll give you a sack of biscuits for.
I would not.
Tasty, delicious buttermilk biscuits.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be coming off an injured season, and
he's already disgruntled, and now the quarterback situation has gotten precipitously worse.
It's gotten, Trevor Siemian. I went through that experiment in Denver.
It's bad.
It's not bad. At least they signed Taysom Hill to some weird contract, so
they gave him quarterback money to not be a quarterback.
Solid move.
Right.
Solid move.
I mean, but as a quarterback, he's a great tight end.
Yeah, agreed. Well, it looks like we've made it around the world as wide receiver ones. It's time to head back home.
Hot damn! I always come back from these drunk.
Yeah, that's the only way to come back from around the world flights.
Yeah,
especially if your last stop was New Orleans.
That's fair.
I don't think we remembered to list off some just random wide receiver names after.
That's true. TJ Hushmanzada.
Oh, I can't believe I have him on my
list. I took him off your list, didn't I?
God,
that felt good.
Oh man, such a good one.
Bring it on.
Oh man, I wanted to say Torrey Holt.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, love me some Torrey Holt.
Steve Breston.
Oh wow.
Steve Breston. You like that?
Wow, that's just so random.
I know.
That kind of shocked me. It kind of sent me reeling there. Here's a fun one for you because I don't think a lot of people know this. How about Ed McCaffrey?
Oh, that takes me back.
You know he is actually Christian McCaffrey's dad.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Daryl Jackson.
Oh, nice.
Seattle. Yeah. Big fan.
I think I'm going to wrap this segment up with a wide receiver that both you and I have talked about many different times over the years. And maybe I'm drawing a line here, but this fella was really good at drawing a line. And I'd like to talk about Matt Jones.
In fairness, he was in Florida.
Yeah, he was a Jaguar. He won't be the last Jacksonville wide receiver to be caught sniffing coke in his car.
No, as long as it wasn't off of an alligator, I think we're all right.
No, you know what you call that when you sniff cocaine off an alligator? That's known as a LaVisca Chenault.
That's quality.